Hey, what's up guys? Good morning. This is Sam OG, and this is another car commuting video. So I have this, I'm currently running this MtA Ascension campaign, and this is the first time I run it. I've been a Mage fan for 3 years, I would say, 3 years now. And now that M20 just came out, I jumped on the opportunity to get a game going on Hangout, and I broadcast this, and I broadcast it live on this channel. So, and I started last weekend. So the idea is that this video, the reason why I want to make this video is because I've been discussing these things with a couple of friends on Facebook, and Null Inquisitor came to me a couple of weeks ago, I would say like 2 weeks ago, something like that, and he asked me this question. He's like, on the chat, he's like, so what are you gonna do? How are you gonna deal with the interpretation of spheres and the interpretation of coincidental and vulgar? And honestly, I felt it. I knew, in the back of my mind, that this would be somehow of an issue, but then I never really gave it a much thought. And so when he asked me about this, I was kind of, yeah, that's true. Gonna have to deal with that. All right. And I was not exactly sure how I would do it and how hard it would be. So I organized a hangout last night. We had to run some tests over Hangout for technical difficulties and stuff. And I said, hey guys, do you have a couple minutes? Let's talk about the difference between vulgar and coincidental. And so the idea to have such a discussion with MtA Ascension is, it is necessary. If you play Mage, you have to be clear on a lot of concept. Mage has its own metaphysic to it, and everybody needs to be on the same page about that. Now, so basically how it goes, Mage is a freeform magic system. Mage is a freeform magic system that is based on the sphere system, and these spheres represent reality, represent different aspect of reality, and they represent that stuff that compose reality, like categories. So you have time, you have matter, you have life, you have entropy, you have prime, you have correspondence, stuff like that. So each sphere can be combined up to 3 spheres to create effect. And an effect is basically what your imagination come up with that's gonna change reality and kind of impose your paradigm, impose your worldview, your belief on reality. And depending on the effect, that effect can be coincidental or vulgar. If it's vulgar, it's gonna give you some paradox, it's gonna backslash at you, and it's gonna create trouble because people are watching and reality is watching, and it's a little bit like the Masquerade with vampire. Nobody should know about magic kind of thing. It's not something that everybody is ready to see and be confronted with. And if you manage to create a type of magic that is hidden, from reality, from people around you, that is subtle, well, that magic can be coincidental, and that magic is less gonna, you know, create paradox and backslash on you. So basically that's what it is, and basically that's what it is. So that, you know, create a lot of interpretative or interpretation axes. The game is full of these interpretation axes. So every time you play the game and you reach a situation and you get into a situation where either you are, as a GM, you have to call for vulgar or coincidental, every time in the game the player want to create an effect, and there is like 5 different spheric ways to do that effect, and you have your setting lawyer and your rule lawyer, and you have like all kinds of people with different kind of interpretation, reading different kind of editions of the game and stuff, and then starts to say no, that's not the right sphere, no, that is so vulgar, that is not coincidental, and blah blah blah. So mage is victim of that cultural situation in gaming, where you know you have to deal with that. Like when you play with a group of friends around the table, and you wanna have that discussion, you wanna have that conversation, it can be part of the fun. All right, like I don't care if I would be with a group of friends, you know, at home, people I know for a long time, and we like metaphysics, we discuss these stuff, and we love the setting, and we always talk about it. Well, casting spells and not casting spell, but casting effect, and being like discussing about, oh, this is more of a life 3 than a life 4, and you should add some entropy into this, and blah blah blah. And that can be for great conversation. You know, it's a game stopper right away. Obviously, it's a huge game stopper, but can be fun. Now, right now, I don't play at home, and I don't play with friends. I play with strangers. I met online, and we play on Hangout, and it's live broadcast, so it's not the same thing. I see that more as a performance. And I also see that as a way more serious venue, because these people, they invest their time and their energy in a game, and they want a game that's gonna have some quality to it, you know, not just like I said, we're not necessarily friends. We're looking to play mage and have some good quality gaming, so we need to settle down. Now, so Non-Inquisitor's question was really important, because it made me realize how important that is. Because I knew it in the back of my mind, but I think, knowing myself, I would probably just wing it. Like, I would probably have just wing it and just went about it, but I would have faced a wall. Like, so what are these interpretation axes in Mage? I mean, there's many of them, and I'm talking, and this video is for the Mage players out there. I'm gonna post that video in the Mage Facebook group. I want to know what you guys think, and how you guys have been dealing with this. Like, for me, there's a lot of interpretation in Mage, and in, you know, Old World of Darkness as well. One axe of interpretation is the reality zone phenomena. Like, coincidental magic and vulgar magic can be stretched out to a different level of reality zone. For example, you are a magic performer, street performer, and you make a rabbit come out of your hat, or you make rabbit come out of your sleeve, and you do that in a street show in front of a bunch of sleeper in a downtown area in a big city. This is vulgar magic. Having a rabbit coming out of your sleeve, this is vulgar magic, and with witnesses, you know. But some people may argue that yeah, but the reality zone is that you are a street performer doing magic and people are expecting it, you know, so that should be coincidental. So that's an interpretation right there, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I don't think so, because reality is watching and you are doing something that, you know, like if there was a witness in any situation, you can definitely understand that it is not normal that a rabbit come out of your sleeve. So how do you draw the line? Another example, this one with the street performer thing, I mean, okay, but there is some even worse example than that. Like, imagine you are in a church, in the middle of the United States, where people go there, gather there once a month, and spend money to be healed by God. And people do a lineup in front of the church, and then inside there is a ministry where they chant God and stuff, and they touch you and you see, and they touch you and you walk again and stuff like that. And that's my friend Mephisto in the group that said, you know, people are expecting God to heal, you know. So let's say, for example, you just the priest touch you, and there is no light, no fire, no electricity, no nothing coming out of your hand. Just touch the child, and the child walk again. That should be coincidental, because people like expect it in a healing church of God. And I was like, yeah, but imagine like the sky open and the hand of God come down and the finger of God touch the kid as the angel of heaven fly into the church, and there's, you know, heaven light coming from the ceiling and the sky and all that, and then the hand of God just go back in paradise, and all the angels follow along, and it close up behind him. Like, would that be coincidental? And he was like, probably, you know. And I was like, yeah, but even these people might consider that being a miracle, even if they expect it. So imagine the conversation, like all these gray area, like reality zone and stuff, like, you know, someone who's shape-shifting, you know, in a closet with nobody seeing, in the dark, you know, is it coincidental? Is it? And how do you draw the line? Now, this video is not about giving answer to that, because there's no answer to that. Like, if you read in the books, you have so many different kind of interpretation for all these situations, and it's definitely not clear, like, where to draw that line. And for me, it. I mean, we discussed, like, last night, just for coincidental and vulgar and reality zone, that axis of interpretation in Mage, we discussed for like 2 or 3 hours, and we could have keep going more, like 2 hours, and we could have keep going more. So, but we didn't necessarily agree at the end. But for me, as the GM, it was really important to just have that conversation, just to, I mean, get it out there, just get it out of the system, and we kind of find a common ground, like this common sense, you know, as a group, just by talking about it for 2 hours. Now, another axe of interpretation in Mage is the spheres. What do they do? Like, what's the range of possibility? And so each sphere are easy enough to understand what they do, but they kind of go over each other a little bit. Like, time and correspondence sometimes can be, or prime and matter can just go a little bit above one another sometimes. and so it's not necessarily easy in that sense. And the other aspect of sphere is to create effect X, like effect X, what are the combination? Like for a given effect, you can have at least 3 or 4 different ways of doing it. Some effects are obvious, but some gray effect, you can do many kind of interpretations. So how do you allow these different kind of interpretation? Because someone who doesn't have the necessary dots in a sphere to create an effect might gonna change his narration in a way that's gonna allow his other sphere with less dot to create the same effect. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you know how to narrate it, if you know how to use your tool, you can create an effect that you can use a sphere that is not necessarily the best sphere to create that effect, but just because you don't have the necessary dot in the best sphere, you're using that other sphere to create that same effect by changing the way you narrate it and the tool. And to me, I don't care, because for me that is just great. This is how you use that system to me. So I don't mind that much, but at the same time, we need to draw the lines and to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and nobody is just doing whatever they want with the sphere system. So, like, that's another interpretation axis in the game. And so for me this there's plenty of other interpretation axes I could discuss, but these are the most difficult. Now, so what I did, this is what we discussed. This is what I propose, because since I'm the GM, since I'm on Hangout and it's a live broadcast, I don't want to have this conversation in play. We agree, everybody in the group, we agree we're not gonna have this conversation in play. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this conversation after play. So the structure is, player state their effect, state their sphere, and I give them the difficulty level. So we agree on something really interesting, is never use the word vulgar and coincidental. I'm just gonna go like highest sphere plus 3, or highest sphere plus 5, or highest sphere plus 4, depending on the level. So everybody's gonna understand which one I call, but we're never gonna use the word in that sense, vulgar or coincidental or whatever. We're just gonna, and if we don't agree on the sphere and everything, the players are going to take some notes, and we're going to discuss it after the sessions. And along the way, during the campaign, after a while, we'll find that common ground where everybody kind of like, okay, we understand the limits and stuff. So that's how I did it. Now, I want to know, how do you guys do it? The mage players out there, the one who's been playing this game for a long time, how do you do that? How do you deal with these interpretation axes, and do you have a different kind of method to understand the difference between coincidental and vulgar? And how do you deal with the sphere stretching situation and the reality zone and all that? I'd like to hear about your methods and your stories, so let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Talk to you soon.